Well, time to pay some bills. Alright, so it's better than the video, better than the reaction. You got Cash Nasty, top of the key, Cash Nasty. He's gonna teach us how much your life costs from birth to death. Paying bills. Get into it.
Time to pay some bills. Literally.
Yeah. Tax season, you know what time it is.
Yo! What's good, everybody?
The gas prices about to be $9. Y'all gonna be walking.
We got a special video, man. Now, you guys always hear me when I always say, time to pay some bills. Time to pay some bills. And so we be like, Cash, you're rich, man. You been on YouTube for almost 10 years.
You still gotta pay. You still gotta pay Uncle Sam, bro. No matter. You gotta pay the bills, man. You still gotta pay Uncle Sam, bro.
You got money.
You can't run from Uncle Sam.
God, that's not the point, right? When I say it's time to pay some bills, this is a everyday motivational quote. When you were born, somebody got paid for that Dr. B to cut that umbilical cord. If you get hurt right now, you call an ambulance. Somebody clocking in, yo. Listen, when you born to death, your casket costs money. When somebody bury you, if you don't got insurance, guess what you got to pay for? Your loved one or your family members. Everything is paying bills. That's why I say it, y'all. I don't mean it in no scummy way, but this is just me telling you guys, get up off your ass and go and pay some bills. Because the bills is coming.
There you go. The older you get, the more it looks. I'm telling you.
All right,
older you get,
this is how much your life costs from birth to death. This is the video.
What is life worth? Is it possible to put a price tag on the cost of living a long, healthy life? The answer is yes, and life is more expensive than you possibly could imagine. This is how much your life is.
By the way, this is Cash's subtitles, not mine.
I grew up in a family, y'all. Listen, bro. I had been cons at a young age, teenager. I had 2 jobs while playing basketball. Like my mama and dad taught me the hustle. You feel me? Like how to get it out the mud. You feel me?
Right.
I done went from hustling. Before my first YouTube videos, when I used to do giveaways, I used to have to go to Goodwill and all these like garage sales and things like that and place it on eBay, so I can use that excessive income from there, so I can pay for these type of giveaways and things, man. Listen, bro, you gotta have it in your heart to hustle, man, and pay.
Yeah, you gotta have it. You gotta have that attribute. You gotta have the badge, bro. You gotta have the hustle badge, bro. That's why it's badge in 2K. Hustler, bro.
Cause they ain't gonna pay themselves, bro.
You gotta have hustle Hall of Fame, bro. You got to.
We gonna get to the video, but guess what? Like, he about to come knocking on your door. He not skipping your door, y'all.
Uncle Sam
Every day, dude.
Uncle Sam ain't playing with you. Right.
Hopefully you guys get it.
Will cost. It is expensive to be born, but in some cases it's
Ads on YouTube must be so annoying, but with 3 clicks, you can install an ad blocker and you'll never see ads again.
Be conceived. More and more couples are turning to in vitro fertilization and other methods as an option to get pregnant. Unfortunately, insurance rarely covers these treatments, and they often come with a hefty price tag. Depending on the circumstances, if you were to be conceived in vitro fertilization, the baby...
If you don't pull out, that's a bill itself. You go to Walgreens and get that $60 bill. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Plan. No. If you don't pay for that, you're gonna have a bill to pay for 18 years. That's inevitable. I mean, I brought these headsets. Look, these headsets are broken.
That's a bill.
Let me back out, man. I brought the headsets. That's a bill.
That's a bill.
Base price for the procedure would most
likely be
$15,000. But due to an additional medication and constant doctor checks, $12,000 and $15,000. But due to an additional procedure would most likely cost between $12,000 and $15,000.
So you meant to tell me some of you women out there, y'all going out there and y'all paying for somebody to insert sperm in you? Wait. No. Not somebody. You're not paying somebody. You're going to the doctor to go get it, and then they put a needle in there. $12,000 to $15,000.
Additional medication.
You remember that? Yeah. Quickly.
but closer to 20,000. And that's before you're even brought into the world. The price for being born into a hospital varies by location, but on average, a natural birth costs somewhere between $5,000 and $11,000. If there are complications and your mother needs a C-section, the price tag for giving birth can go up another $3,000. Basically, being born is an expensive prospect, and that is nothing compared to how much the rest of your life will cost. We're going to take the time right now to tell you how much the cost of an entire life will vary by country, state, and even neighborhood. But for this scenario, let's imagine you were born a healthy baby in the United States. So now that you've been brought into the world, the next set of expenses start to add up. According to the U.S. Surgeon General, the average cost of food and formula for a baby's first year of living is around $1,500. And all of that food has to go somewhere, so you're costing your parents another $1,000 on diapers simultaneously.
It's just adding up.
I'm just feeding you money that you don't need. You shit on me.
And this doesn't even include things like clothing, toys, and strollers, which you will eventually grow out of. The cost of raising an infant is estimated to be around $13,000 annually for the first few years of their life. At some point, your parents will have to go back to work to pay for your cost of living, which means you'll require some form of daycare, which usually runs a bill of somewhere around $85 a year. This does not include the money that needs to be shelled out for babysitters so your parents can enjoy an evening without you every once in a while. The crazy part is that as you grow up, you become more expensive. Everything you need, like housing, school, transportation, hobbies, making sure you're healthy, costs money. By the time you grow up to be a teenager, your life cost will be somewhere around $300,000. Your teenage years and early 20s are among the most expensive times of your life, so your price tag is about to skyrocket. To start, the average price of being a teenager is around $15,000 a year. During this time of life, food costs increase as growing teens require a lot of nutrients during puberty. Most of you also started driving in your teenage years. Even if you pay for your own car, you'll still need to be insured. Your parents will likely pay that bill, and insurance companies see you as a high risk. And this can cost
this is crazy, man.
Expenses. Your parents will most likely send you to a public school, so there's no tuition fee. But if they want you in a good school district, the amount of taxes they'll have to
public school over here. Public school game.
Public school right up the street.
In the chat right now, man. You know.
Public school right there.
Meaning they're forcing
Two more. Matter of fact, not even a minute away. It's a school right here. I'm telling you.
Best education
There's a school right over here.
There are school supplies and equipment.
Over here, up there, back there.
This means your educational costs
Schools everywhere.
School years are around $2,100 a year. Now,
and let's not forget the J's. You know,
The Jordans.
we all got that one kid who go to school. You know what I mean? Dad is a dope dealer or something like that. You feel me? Or, you know, a scam, you know, something like that, you feel me? So he coming to school every week with some new J's, you know, all the girls looking at him, you peeping at him. Man, you know, and now you done.
He's just a trendsetter, ain't he?
Your parents though talking about, hey, can I get that pair of shirts? Can I get the new Air Force Ones? Can I get the new Air Force Ones?
Right.
You know what I mean? But they want to take you to a Payless to get you some replica Air Force Ones that don't say Air, but they got a Nike check. You feel me? So it's just, bro, oh, man. Traumatized.
Right.
now you've entered perhaps the most expensive part of your life. College is a great time to find yourself and what you're interested in.
Oh, college? You can cut that right there, man. That's on you. Once you saw that college, bro, you out of high school, bro, all that going towards you. Towards you. It ain't your parents anymore, bro. Them loans, towards you.
However, this comes at a price. The average cost for a 4-year course is somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000 a year. Unfortunately, you may decide that you want to go to a private college where you'll pay closer to $50,000 annually. This means that if you graduate on time, your college tuition costs will be close to $200,000.
And do you know what it is to graduate on time? You know how much time that is, y'all? You know how many hours you gotta do a semester? You can't work a part-time job if you want. If you go to a college, right, and you say, I'm gonna graduate in 4 years, right? Which, you know, everybody playing is, you got no time. No, you can't even fail a course. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, college is a big finesse, but I'm not stopping people going to get your education, go get your education. You feel me, bro? Because, you know, you might need it, bro. You know, I dropped out of college, I think, within 2 years, you know what I mean? I dropped out to go do Walmart. And I moved up the chain to become assistant manager within like 2 years or a year and a half. And then I found YouTube, you know. I'm not against college, man. It's just that, bro. What my mistake was, I went to college because I wanted to be cool. You know what I mean? Like everybody else wanted to get out, go, you know, the hood, whatever it is, and go to college. So just went to college. You know, I went for the wrong reasons, but I went for graphic design, and I learned how to do thumbnails and how to edit videos from there. But I didn't know my future was for YouTube. Feel me? If you're gonna go to college, make sure it's a big ass bill. You're gonna be paying for it right after you go, you know, get the work field.
It's not guaranteed. And since your textbooks in college cost somewhere around $1,000 a year at some institutions, your life costs a lot more than just the tuition price alone during college. This doesn't even take into consideration the approximately $5,000 a year you'll spend on food. And that's if you're conservative with your eating habits. It's not out of the realm of possibility that you'll incur costs in the hundreds of thousands of dollars during your 4 years at college, and you haven't even entered the real world yet. Luckily, if you get a good job, you'll be able to live comfortably and hopefully pay off some of that debt. Even so, we haven't looked at how expensive being an adult can be. The average adult spends around $400 on groceries each month.
Word. That cashed his soul.
However, eating is not the largest expense you'll have since you're now working a full-time job. Those things could be.
Getting outdoors is all about experience, the challenge, the views, the victories.
Like spending too much in online shopping or charging items to your credit card that you aren't able to pay off right away. These mistakes come with interest, and that's by the time you're a full-blown adult, you'll likely have somewhere around $90,000 worth of debt to your name. The monthly
Have not met one person who finished college and have said around my age group and said that they finished what they did. Have not met one person yet. Yeah, I met people with degrees. I promise, bro. One time. When I was assistant manager at Walmart in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Cortana Walmart. Check it out, man. Real ratchet out there. Man, I had to drive by in the parking lot, bro. Crazy. My second day on the job. Real talk. But, crazy. Listen, I hired a maintenance worker. Maintenance. This dude had a master's. Yes, had a master's. I hired him to do maintenance overnight.
cost of living for an adult can be broken down into key categories. Each one.
He was happy with it. He was content with it.
The average cost of renting or owning a home is around $1,600. This is a recurring expense for the duration of your life, since you will always need a place to live. Plus, you also want health insurance, of course. So every month, your life cost increases by another $1,000 just to protect yourself from becoming bankrupt from one.
That's just $2,600 in itself.
You'll likely have to go places. So, either way, this is another expense that is incorporated into the cost of your life. And no one
that's $2,000 with the groceries.
all the time.
Because it's
So
so much
long
to
as
do, right?
vacations, visiting friends and family, or just going abroad now and then. These expenditures will cost somewhere close to $12,000 a year. There is one other major expense that adds to your life cost as an adult: marriage. The average budget for a wedding is somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000. This is a huge investment for one day of celebrating. However, there's always the cost-effective method of eloping or having a town hall wedding.
And if you the breadwinner, you gotta fold to her. Yeah. Anything go wrong, you do anything wrong, she can divorce you to 50%. Check. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. Look what Robin Gibbons did to Mike Tyson. That's a prime example right there. I'm not about to get into that, but that's a prime example of Robin Gibbons and Mike Tyson. What Robin Gibbons did to
This means that there's a
It ain't no more title. It ain't no more title. So what, you know the thing go tell their friend, girl, I'm married. What? Oh, sleep, boy. And then the ring is showcasing about That's in the thousands. Check it out, bro.
Decent chance
Put
you
you
might
guys
be
a game right now, bro.
to finalize the divorce and move on with your life. This brings us back to marriage. Around 80% of divorcees get remarried. This doesn't necessarily mean you'll be spending as much money on a second wedding as your first marriage, but it also doesn't mean you won't.
I didn't even know 80% get
The
remarried.
possibility that the cost of your life is inflated by marriages and divorces. At some point, you'll grow old, and as an elderly person, life doesn't get any cheaper. Up until this point, your life has been expensive, and your cumulative life cost is definitely in the millions. But don't think retiring means you'll stop racking up the bills. After you're out of your working years and happily retired, life gets expensive in a different way. For example, the Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that the average retiree spends around $50,000 a year. The major expenses change since during the early years of retirement.
I'm reacting to videos, y'all. Don't you guys worry, man. This channel not going.
Guys, we'll be doing this for the next 60 to 70
Expenses of living shift to medical.
As long as bills need to be paid, cash that's in place, we'll be here.
Nursing home, which costs around $9,000 a month to live.
Sheesh.
This means senior use.
Just don't go nowhere, y'all. Alright? Stick with me. I'm gonna stick with you guys, man. You go somewhere, I can't take you, man.
Ain't nobody gonna go nowhere,
End
boy.
of your life.
We ain't going nowhere, boy.
Nursing homes and
Cash nasty, that's top of the key, cash nasty.
assisted living facilities.
Ain't going
But
nowhere.
either way, getting old is expensive, which brings us to one of the most costly events in your life, and you aren't even alive to see it. Even though death is technically the end of your story, it is the final expense that needs to be added to calculate how much your life costs. On average, it costs approximately $20,000 to die. This is due to
That's just crazy. I'm with Cash on this one. That's crazy.
life costs. On average,
It's 20 bands to die.
approximately $20,000 to die. This
That's
is due to
great.
funeral and burial expenses. But even if you're cremated, you're looking at a price tag close to
Oh my god! Look, my mama's so cheap, she said cremate her. Cause she don't want to put that burden on us. But what she don't know, that's money too! Sheesh!
to dying. It is expensive to be a human, but how expensive? You know your life is worth well into the millions if you've been adding up the numbers as we've gone along, but how many millions exactly? Your childhood from birth to the teenage years costs around $300,000. Then from being a teenager and going to college, you can add another $300,000 to your total cost of living. At this point, your life has cost over $500 grand, but you're only about a quarter of the way through it. You have to live the adult life and all the expenses that come with it for around 30 years before you can retire. Your life as a senior citizen will incur another $1 million or so worth of expenses based on the path you chose for retirement and senior living. And these numbers are based on you only making it to the age of 80. Your life costs
That's
more,
crazy.
and since the end of someone's life is where the cost of living increases due to medical needs and lifestyle in general, the cost of your life will grow exponentially. When all is said and done, the value of your entire life will be somewhere between $3 and $10 million. It's a rough estimate as everyone's
That's an NBA contract right here. 3 to 10 million. This is an NBA contract. This is a pro contract.
life would be different depending on the country they're born in and their decisions. But think of how
That's
crazy
a good rookie contract.
you likely will never be a millionaire. Yet your
That's that top 5
life is
contract.
worth many millions of dollars. Regardless of where you live or your circumstances, you're priceless to us here at the Infographic. How do you wish?
Chase your dreams.
Anyways, that's going on with this video, man. So you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel. See y'all next video.